I don't like the chairs. Yeah, welcome back to this afternoon session of the STARTS Day at the 2021 Festival Ars Electronica in Linz. My name is Lucas Evers. We just had a full morning that lasted long after midday with a lot of projects about data uses for artistic practices and data visualization. Also with a lot of climate-related concerns. I thought it was a very rich session, but also this afternoon session will be a very rich one, mainly talking about manufacturing and the future of manufacturing in all sorts of contexts. We're first going to talk with these artists here next to me that are part of the second winning team of the STARTS Prize with the project called Remix Albario. Marion Real and Anastasia Pistofidou, yeah. It's a tongue twister. And thereafter there will be more panels, but I also want to inform you about what further is happening. So after the interview I will do with the two of you, there will be also parallel sessions that I think, yes, you can still decide on going to. It's a parallel session on the Better Factory project that will be about the intersection between art and industry, which is moderated by Rodolfo Groenewoud van Vliet, and Ali Mohammed, who is the coordinator of Better Factory. But there's also a workshop from Voyext, the consortium that is also about robotics, hosted by my colleague of De Waag in Amsterdam, called Robots Are People Too, helping robots by humans to become more perfect. Should he become that? That is the question. After the interview I'm going to do with the Remix Albario team, they will come back on stage together with a number of other speakers, which among others is Michaela Magas of the Industry Commons Foundation and Areti Markopoulou. But both will be introduced when we start that panel. So I think, first of all, I want to introduce Marion and Anastasia and the project Remix Albario. It's a project that is made by a much larger team, if I'm correct, that comes from the IAC and Fab Lab Barcelona ecosystem of innovation, correct me if I'm wrong, and it's about looking at food waste as a material stream to produce new goods. Yeah? Anastasia is a digital fabrication expert, wearables and e-textiles practitioner, biomaterial maker and researcher, and an educator. She's part of Fab Lab Barcelona and the EAC team since 2011 as tutor, advanced manufacturing office manager, coordinator and researcher, and she's currently leading the materials and textiles strategy area. From that perspective, you're also working with the Fab Academy. You're one of the initiators, together with my colleague Cecilia Raspanti, who is not here, but as you may know, Fab Academy is, like Fab Academy, a global course to learn how to make new textiles and fabrics using, amongst others, digital fabrication methods. I think you can give that much more color if we go into a conversation. Marion Real is a systemic design researcher exploring co-creation processes in the territorial transformations towards circular economies and a cosmopolitan localism. You need to say a bit more about that in the conversation, because I think that is very interesting and very important. She's currently working at Fab Lab Barcelona and EAC, where she has coordinated the 10 pilots of the Syscode project, including Remix Albario, and she is also associate researcher at STIA, chair.
Bali,
yeah. STIA, chair, Bali, and Center for Circular Design. Yeah. And we also know each other from a number of other projects that I think we can discuss here that she makes, looking at diversity in fashion creation, and the Reflow project, looking at circular material streams in cities. Yeah, if I'm not wrong, we will see some images in the background of the Remix Albario project that in the next panel you will also give a presentation about. So Remix Albario is looking at food waste or rest streams of food in cities in order to create new materials. Can you say something about these materials? Because there's an online audience that is not able to go and see the work in the building next to us, where the STARS Prize winners are presented.
Yes, thank you for the introduction. We are honored to be here and have this conversation with you. Long time that we wanted to meet each other, I guess. Yeah. Remix Albario is the outcome of the pilot project of Syscode, locally in Barcelona, concretely in the Poblenou area, the arroba 22 area of Barcelona, where also the municipality of Barcelona has put a lot of effort into the digital transformation of the district. And it looks into creating a circular local ecosystem, documented in an open source way so that it can be replicable into other cities or villages or localities. Creating new materials, generating new markets, reinventing or inventing processes, combining arts, aesthetics, the crafts, and the digital manufacturing. These materials derive from different food waste stream, and it is a little bit re-questioning the negative annotation of the word garbage. Why should we think of garbage as something bad? So with this project, we also want to reconsider and understand that there should be no garbage. Nature doesn't have any waste. So we should understand that the resources can be done in a circular way, enter back in a loop of production. The materials that were generated in the Remix Albario are bio-based materials, which means that they are made from biopolymers, bio-based polymers, and when we say bio-based polymers, we mean starches, we mean algae, we mean gelatin biodegradable polymers combined with different plasticizers which give the elasticity, so you can play with the recipe and you can have a very hard plastic that is machinable, and you can make a desk, or you can have a leather, bio leather, or a fruit leather, how we call it. And they were sourced by different providers, services, or the stakeholders, the ecosystem of Remix in the district, restaurants, urban gardens, and neighborhood associations.
Yeah, I'm looking at garments that are made of starches combined with, what is it, cellulose?
This is agar, and it is combined with coffee, orange peel, yerba mate, and carrot peels. On the left, you can see the biopanton. It is panton, but made from natural dyes. So this, specifically this project is a project that is just before the Remix Albario incubation. It is the research done in the Fab Textiles and Material Lab within the Fab Lab Barcelona, and it has served as the knowledge in order to do the transfer knowledge to the designers, to the 12 designers that they got incubated in the project.
Yeah, yeah. I also see a lot of stuff that is also appearing in other design areas. We know the works of Suzanne Lee that is making these types of garments. But you're also looking at, and that's maybe a little more a question for you, Marion, you're looking at making it systemic, trying to document all the processes well, trying to understand the design research that's behind it in order to make it open for others to do the same. Can you say something about that?
Yes, of course. All the project is around also the theme of co-creation. And when we look at the results of the SysCode project, we can look that co-creation can be understood by many prisms and representation. And it's really nice to see in the Remix Albario that the co-creation pilot based on material making from food waste can really involve a strong diversity of stakeholders, but also a different layer in terms of future policy that need to be addressed not only in the organizational level or changing like some individual change, but also can be built and co-design with the policymaker at the city level, also trying to join the different policy addressed by the European Union. What is nice also when you look at the journey of the designer is that this systemic approach to think about system is really, coming all the time. When you start the analysis of the context, when you meet people, you try really to map all the ecosystem to have a vision of what is happening, and you build a bit the knowledge and the information with the different testimony or interaction that you have with them. And I think the first phase of the project was really interesting because it was this exploration. We went to see some restaurants, some bars, coffee, and we interact directly with the owners, and also see the constraints in a way. And in that sense, at this moment, appeared many systemic issue that we can think of when we talk about circular system, like the circular logistic for doing this kind of local economy, how we can optimize the collection, how we can sort better inside the kitchen of a restaurant, for instance, and after where will be the place of production. So when we start, we already a bit model, map, and realize the complexity of all this system. And we can, at this moment, choose also where we can make some intervention. And at this moment, it was really nice to have this emerging knowledge about biomaterials, because there was a real need from reskilling, or at least be creative about the waste this type of waste, and by sharing knowledge, like we talk a lot about cross-pollination with Anastasia, sorry, and it is really this that happened during the process. It was really, of course, a lot of transmission of knowledge, but also a lot of learning from each other, and we learn a lot from, for instance, the guy at the urban garden had a really strong knowledge about some specific process. When with the designer, it was systematic interaction, and it was really nice to go through this process with them. And well, just talking a bit, I think you see the many dimensions that come with this biomaterial making. And of course, maybe I can finish with this. When we talk about systemic and sustainability, we talk about the impact that we generate while we are making. And it was also like quite an adventure to find how to integrate the eco-design principle, the regenerative principle, inside the recipe that you can see, and also all the services, the system that you create from the project.
Yeah, super. I guess I can imagine that you quickly go to a type of material that you already have some knowledge about. But I would be interested whether you, for instance, also did a type of mapping to see what other types of raw materials, crude materials, for your type of research are available. You can think about orange peels and coffee, etc. But did you do anything to maybe look at the type of biological rest streams that come from managing parks or anything? Did you do that type?
So we work very specifically, and I think also this is the reason why the project is very real, and it has a real impact. We did, of course, try to select materials in the hardiness zone of Spain, like olive pits and orange peels, eggshells, tortilla, you know. Mm-hmm. So these are on purpose, but this also opened the question that this exact project is completely different in another hardiness level zone. If you do this project in Brazil or if you do it in Australia, you will be using different kind of organic waste. Of course, when you work within the Fab Lab, you have some limitations in the quantities and the time that you have to process these materials. Because if we look into the process is the collection, then you need to dry them. Maybe sometimes you also need to disinfect them by boiling them with soda. And then you need to shred them, to trim them, to sift them, to obtain the granulometry you want, and then you start to add them as the ingredient for the biopolymer, with the biopolymer and the plasticizer, so the filler. And of course, we also tried sometimes in some recipes to eliminate completely the filler and use only like pure the raw material by pressing it with heat. Mm-hmm. So in the case of the coffee grounds, after some specific temperature, when you heat press them, the cellulose itself creates bonds, and you don't need any other binder. In this case, we look into trying to measure it was a different kind of mapping that we did, because we wanted to make a linear connection that 37 eggshells, which is a tortilla for 12 people, makes 3 coffee cups. So this is kind of a language that we need to talk with the common people, that they understand. If we put, we used all the banners and the posters and the graphic material of the project was made out of waste as well.
Yep.
So we made the graphics with the laser engraving and the paper out of the coffee peels. And in this kind we also put this in the coffee place where we were taking the coffee grounds. And we wanted to talk with the people of the district, with the family that will see this and understand, okay, what can I do with that? So the language is important, and this is why this project has a bigger impact. Even though the research has started a long time ago, it wouldn't be so important if it had stayed within the university, within the research institute. So we need to take out the research out in the street, and we need to put the people to confront and respond to it and make it easy for them to understand.
Yeah, so there's quite a public engagement part of the project involved. Mm-hmm. Do you also encourage people then to use your recipes to do it at home? Definitely. Yeah. And this is one, if you didn't document it, you didn't do it. So yeah. This is in the hard-coded in our open source mentality, that the documentation is half of the job. It wouldn't make any sense to make this project if we didn't have the open source tutorials and the handbooks and the cookbooks mm-hmm. That allow people to replicate the information. And in this sense, we also talk in a language that is very accessible to the public by publishing recipes. Everybody knows how to cook. And also understanding that the concept of the recipe is so broad, because at the same time that it is so specific, it can be so abstract. You can always put your creativity while you're cooking. So that's the nice part of the recipe. Yeah, true. Of course, I also see that in the textile lab upstairs at Waag. It's indeed the kitchen there. It's cooking, yeah. Yeah. The new office of the designer is the kitchen. Yeah, yeah, sure. That also counts for a number of other types of material production that have more to do with biotechnology. I want to encourage, and I don't know whether there are any online questions, I also want to encourage anyone in the audience to come up with questions if you have them, because this is, it's a public afternoon, and it shouldn't be only me asking questions. Yeah. Marion, can you say something more about how you take away this as a design research, and how, for instance, also, and that may be a little bit of a different question, how entrepreneurs in your neighborhood react to giving you their waste materials? Are they easy to interest? Are they eager to give the material? Are they quickly coming back asking you, like, you came to get coffee waste last week, but can you come every week? Okay. So I will maybe answer the first part of the question, reacting about this design approach, and maybe also pinpointing a bit on the first question that you mentioned to Anastasia about this mapping and how we can really provide knowledge about resources that are produced locally and are present locally, and it's really important maybe to think of circular design and systemic design, regenerative design as really a way to look and to
look at the district or the city level and to identify and to look at what the territory, which is the resource of the territory, mapping it, and just to complete, it's true that there is other project where we are working on with the Fab Lab, with the Fab City Foundation also, and of course with many partners associated, included VAG, where we try to provide some tools to support each stakeholder to act. So it could be from the policy side, it could be from the entrepreneurial side, it could be from the civil society. And at this moment, when you look at what are the needs of each of the stakeholders to make this transformation happen, first, of course, it's true that they need to align on this kind of mapping and strategy at more higher level. But what feeds really the transformation is, as we were mentioning, it's really to test, to experiment what we really believe worth on that. So I think there is two sides. It's not everyone is convinced and wants to do this kind of project, and it's also why we claim that such manifesto with the Remix Collective, because we really believe in it, but there is another wheel at next to us that really are not going at the same speed. And we really need, of course, when we went in the district, not everyone is like, oh, it's super. There is like a lot of curiosity and creativity, of course, but there is also the reality of the efficiency that there is with the actual economic system. And for instance, there is many restaurants who are not able now to maybe sort different waste and to find this logistic that I mentioned before. It's really like a disruptive practice, and the restaurant we work with was really like a pioneer in that, and what we want to show is that if we want, it's really possible to do it, and we can organize and really find simple solution to make this happen, because we talk about a small scale. Because when we go to the restaurant of the district, we just have to take a bike or just walking, and we can have really low-tech system of logistics to do that, for sure. And after, if I understood well the question, I think there is also this dimension of how maybe we can think about future consumer of the prototype product that we see and we have co-produced in the Remix Collective. And this was also a super interesting point when we were doing the first co-creation session, because it was about what is worth being produced for the district, what kind of product, what kind of tools we can make from waste, because thinking about the diversity of process and thinking that we can do maybe almost anything, what we would like to do as a collective or as, so you can look at, once again, the urban garden, the inside of the restaurant, and you can say, well, I can produce this for this public, and this creates really direct interaction and direct needs. And I think it's really, by testing and attracting by value, by discourse, and by practicing, that we can really going to the transformation level.
Yeah, and so are you also bringing certain projects back into the restaurant? So the results are shown in the restaurant, like lighting or, interesting. And I know that it's coming from many sides, because I know a lot of similar, yet not so rigorous initiatives like yours now. But I also know that there is, for instance, the Agricultural University of Wageningen in the Netherlands is doing the same with mycelium and other sorts of materials that are derived from waste materials. is there anyone from the industry looking over your shoulders? Are they interested in the way you are approaching this? On this very, what was it? The cosmopolitan localism kind of approach, because you also made a design choice to be very local in this.
Yeah, definitely. Of course, the designers, Remix Albario created tons of opportunities for the participants, us and the designers and the ecosystem in general. And when we say the outcomes, they are not only products, they are also services for design. There are also workshops for transfer knowledge. And we had, for example, Knife Factory that is working with olive pits. There were when the project was published in the news, there were many companies that started contacting them and us, saying we have this industry that is producing waste of almonds. Could you produce some solutions? We also had some contacts of industries that they are already producing products from waste. And normally this kind of waste that it is coming from the shells is used for biofuel. But this is downcycling. What we are doing is upcycling. The only reason for the existence of this project is because of the design, because of the upcycling, because otherwise you could also compost all of this waste. And we are now incubating with a new project which is called Food Shift. We are incubating 2 of the projects of Remix Barrio in the business side of it, so they can also create their business model, and they can see and collaborate with other companies so that they can. And they are providing, the designers, they are providing services to companies. They are creating small series collections that they are numbered. Of course, if you see, we are talking about new markets that are combined with new processes, and this, if you're reinventing completely new tools and processes, maybe it's more difficult to implement it very directly in an industrial level, because you need to set up a whole new industry. But if you can do a bioplastic that can be used in the normal stream of petroleum-based plastics, you don't need to have the infrastructure. You don't need to redo the infrastructure. Which means that there are a lot of industries that they are demanding now to go towards greener sustainable solutions, looking also into the Green Deal, of course. And they themselves, it's not only the consumer, it's the industry also that they want that. So we have many examples of small, medium enterprises, and also opportunity networks like funds from the European Union, like COSME funds, that they support these activities. Also the global change award of H&M. So we have the mycelium leather, we have the Mycoworks, we have the cactus leather, we have the orange peel fiber, that was, like all the companies, they are looking into it. So it's it's happening. The thing is that when you, the problem, and I will finish very soon, the problem is that when you want to go from the TRL technology level 5 or 6 to go a further step and really make a business, you need to be engaged, you need to be ready. The startup ecosystem sometimes is giving a mentality that, okay, I will have an idea and then I will sell it to Google or Microsoft or a big company, which is not the mentality that we want. We want the people to marry with their ideas and get a life going on, as our fathers did, for example, to get continuity, not to leave their great ideas. And this is sometimes problematic. And that's why also I think there are all of these financial aids and helps so that people really get to stay with their ideas.
Yeah. I think that's not easy to go that way, but I think therefore this award is supporting those types of attitudes that you are making with it. You also collaborate in the Reflow project, but not as a pilot yet. This would be one of the most advanced pilots in the Reflow project, I could say so. There's another Reflow, for the people in the audience, is a similar project where we have 6 pilots about textiles, about energy circularity, about food waste circularity, and about building materials circularity. IAC is part of the research team of the project, but doesn't run a pilot, yet this one would fit very good. Yeah. I hope we did a very interesting conversation here, because I didn't get any questions from the audience. I understand your colleague co-designers are here.
Yes.
Are they in the audience here?
Some of them are here. You can come.
Could you quickly come to the stage, and then we give you a hand as a conclusion of this conversation and go to the next panel.
Yes, of course. The prizes for innovative collaboration. There are many, many people.
Please. Come on.
Yes.
We're a small audience here, but it's great to have that entire team here.
Okay.
So thank you. I'll say to the camera, thank you for being here. Thank you for our online audience. Thank you for the audience here in this rather intimate space. We'll be back at the next panel that will also be together with Remix Albario, but also with 2 other speakers, that is Areti Markopoulou and Michaela Magas. And we will start at 4 o'clock sharp. So see you back then. Thank you.
Thanks, Lucas.
And thank you, Remix Albario.
Mi nombre es Diego Miguel Ortiz, participé en el proceso de co-creación facilitado por el Fab Lab de Barcelona, aquí en el barrio de Poblenou, y formo parte de Remix el Barrio. Remix el Barrio es un colectivo de diseñadores de biomateriales hechos con restos alimenticios. Estamos explorando nuevas técnicas de ecodiseño colaborativo que involucra redes locales, fomentando prácticas circulares de residuo cero. Estamos transformando los restos de comida en nuevos materiales, productos y servicios, haciendo papel y envases a partir de residuos de cáscara de café, creando lámparas, sillas y macetas originales a partir de huesos de aceituna, cáscara de huevo, mate, diseñando una chaqueta hecha con pieles de naranja, creando tintes naturales a partir de huesos de aguacate, jabones a partir de aceite usado, galletas y snacks para vecinos o animales a partir de las mermas de restaurantes. La ecocreación es un eje fundamental del colectivo Remix el Barrio. Hoy ya no pensamos en la idea de un autor, sino en el intercambio de prácticas y divulgación de conocimientos mediante las expertas del Fab Lab. Estamos unidos en torno a los valores de la cooperación local, la solidaridad, las nuevas formas de artesanía y la circularidad, aquí en Barcelona.
What if in the following years food waste will become our new treasure? Inspired by Remix El Barrio. From Fab Lab Barcelona and IAAC Poblenou, Barcelona's neighborhood has shaped a circular ecosystem with restaurants, citizens and new fabrication community places. How does it work? It is simple, the circular system, starting from collecting waste from restaurant, transported via cargo bike, pre-processing waste, designing, crafting and micro-manufacturing of products, redistributing them in local marketplaces, urban gardens, or even directly to restaurants. In 2030, this practice has inspired many other places. Each neighborhood functions as a point of transformation of waste into biomaterials, as a place of meeting and cooperation between designers and artisans, building knowledge and products, recipes, knowledge and practices are shared in the other barrios of Barcelona, other cities and places in the world. Become a food waste material maker. Learn by making. Think about proximity and local consumption. Care, craft the future, now.